Welcome once again. And this is the member dashboard for Authentosign. Of course, you get to Authentosign by logging into your Toronto Real Estate Board account. And on the home page, on the left-hand side, it says Web Forms Authentosign. And when you get to Web Forms Authentosign and you click on that, this is the page that opens, is your member dashboard. Now, my member dashboard may look a little bit different from yours before you open it. I've organized it the way I like to do it. And you can organize the way your icons are by clicking here. You can lock and unlock the dashboard. And by unlocking the dashboard, you can move things around if you want to, or get rid of things. I can't imagine why you'd want to get rid of anything. So I don't remove them. That would not be smart. Okay. But you can move things around as you want. I'm going to relock mine because I like mine the way it is. Over here on the left-hand side is Quick Start. And when you click on Quick Start, it has the logging in and it has a quick start guide on how to get going. I am basically going to teach you the quick start guide right now, okay? Not anything real fancy here. You can certainly go in here and use your own quick start guide, but I'll show you how to use it. Here, How Do I has all the tutorial videos. How do I create a simple transaction and add a form? Edit a transaction. How do I add a page? And it's got quite the list of stuff that you can go through. So, for example, how do I add a clause? How do I add a contact? That kind of thing. How do I add documents? So this is quite the lengthy, as you can see as I scroll down, it's got, I don't know how many, but it sure looks like 100 at least, different videos that you can go through to really, really dive deep into Authentosign and web forms, okay? Once again, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm going to show you the basic transactions in Authentosign. I'm not going to show you every single thing that's in here because that would take, a week. And so I'm quite simply not going to do that. But those tutorial videos are here. So if you do have a problem, you certainly can come in here and how do I delete a clause? How do I create a personal clause? Things like that can be very helpful for you. But most of the things in the tutorial video that are in here, we are not touching today. And the reason why it would just simply take too long. What I'm going to try to accomplish today is to show you the basics of Authentosign and how it works, how you need to mark up a file so that your buyer or seller clients can sign it themselves and, of course, get it back to you so that you can either list the property or you can send a file to a listing brokerage that your buyer has signed. Now, there's a warning here. The warning for Authentosign is called best practices. We've talked about it before in other forums. We've talked about it in the Richmond Hill office meetings. We've talked about it in the general office meetings. And there is best practices for Authentosign. The problem with Authentosign is that it is so easy. We'll talk about a buyer, an agreement of purchase and sale. It is so easy for you guys to simply create an agreement of purchase and sale along with a buyer representation agreement, a working with a realtor, and a confirmation of cooperation and representation, and send it off to the buyer to sign. The buyer happily initials and signs everything and sends it back to you. The problem with that is that you have not explained the documents to your buyer client, or if it's a listing, the seller client. So the best practice is send the documents to your client first without the Authentosign attached to it. And then you pick up the phone and you explain the documents to your client. It doesn't take long if you know what you're talking about. And then when you've finished explaining it, answer all the buyer's questions or sellers' questions, then send it off to Authentosign. And in Authentosign, you can add an email that says the seller agrees or the buyer agrees that they understand the forms that they are signing. And then they sign the Authentosign program and you get them back, okay? So the danger of Authentosign is you take a shortcut and you do not explain the documents to the client. I don't know if Isabel is on here or not, but Isabel and I both know that buyers are going into Treb and saying, nobody explained to me what the document said. All I did was receive it in an email and I signed it without reading it. I'm an idiot, I know, but I expected the agent to explain it and they never did. And buyers and sellers are trying to get out of agreements because of that exact thing. So you have to take the time to explain the documents to your clients, please. The question is in the chat, will there be recordings for the lecture? Yes, this is being recorded, but it will not be sent to everybody's email. It'll be available on the Century 21 Heritage Group YouTube training channel. The second thing about best practices is when you're dealing with 2 or more people. With 2 or more people, you want to try to get 2 different email addresses, okay? Why? Because if there's 2 people and only 1 email address, one person could sign easily for both people. This becomes really problematic in a divorce situation or a separation situation where they're selling the house and you're using Authentosign and there's only 1 email address. How do you know that the wife isn't also signing for this husband or vice versa, that you don't know that the husband is signing for the wife? And so you want to get 2 email addresses in this kind of a situation. All righty. So your member dashboard, talked about these things here across the top. What about over on the left-hand side? So on the left-hand side, you also have a whole bunch of things in here. And some of them you'll never use. Some of them you'll use a lot. This is your dashboard. This always takes you back to this page that we're in. This is kind of like your home page, right? Then you have the different transactions that you're working on, okay? And here's all the different transactions. Now, I have a lot of transactions in here, and believe me, I have not sold 73 places. Believe me, please. But I do a lot of tests. I do a lot of playing around. You can see a lot of transactions I've named as number 1, okay, which, you know, they're all different, but I have not done 73 different transactions, I can assure you. Here, the pen will take you to, so what transactions have been done in Authentosign. And you can see here that these are drafts. So nobody's completed. 0 out of 3 is completed. 0 out of 3, 0 of 1, 0 of 4, all that good stuff. Or you have completed and you have completed. So they've completed them. So you can see pretty quickly what has been done, what's being completed, what hasn't been completed. Forms takes you to the forms section where you can find individual forms. Of course, if you can do that through Aria websites, you can certainly get it through web forms as well, but this is just another way. Documents, if you have any documents. Tasks, if you really want to drive yourself crazy, you can go into tasks, and tasks are things that you are missing, different transactions, or of course your deal secretary is going to send you deficiency notices, and that's basically the same thing as tasks. This next one is broker tools, and that's an administrative icon that you do not have access to. This one is faxing. This one is your contacts. And here's where you can add contacts if you'd like to add contacts. You can see I've got some in here. Most of them are fake. As you can see, I've got Bob Beyer, Bob Roger, Bob Beyer, Brad Pitt. I wish I had him as a client, but no such luck. Lawyer, that kind of thing. And you can simply add different contacts. And we'll go through the contacts when we're looking at an actual transaction. Settings. Most of you do not have access to different settings. Your programs have been set already. Your cart, this is where you can buy stuff. Honest to God, I can never imagine why you would buy anything at all. It just doesn't make sense. Support. So, if you actually need online support, then you can get live support. You can pay for online training if you want. You can send feedback, you can access the guides. Here are the help videos again, more videos. And so this is another way to get support. And once again, you can also access that support here through the quick start or the how do I video section. Okay. So most of these here, you're not going to use. Okay. Like they're pretty rare, but these two, you're going to use an awful lot. Okay. So once again, this is not a lesson in how to create a document. That's web forms that you create the document. And I've got all sorts of documents in here, as you can see, okay? So I'm assuming for a moment that you guys know how to use web forms and create a document. If you don't know how to do that, there are videos on our YouTube training channel on how to create documents in web forms. There's also videos in Treb in the video section on how to create them as well. And then in this section here, there's all sorts of how do I create a document in web forms. And once you've created a document in web forms, it shows up on your member dashboard. It's automatic. It comes here. Simple as that. Okay. And you can see your document. Okay. So what do? You have your document here now. And let's look at 200. When you open up your document, you get when you open up your file, you get this. So here is your detail. It's a condo sale. It's open. It has the address, has the listings. It has the list price, the closing date, all this wonderful stuff in here. And it has your forms in here on this side. And it has all the forms that are created in your transaction kit. Okay. And in your transaction kit, hopefully you have completed some of these forms in web forms. So here, for example, is the agreement of purchase and sale for a condominium resale. So we're going to open this up. Hopefully it opens up. There it is. And so here's the agreement of purchase and sale for a condo. And you can see I've got this filled in. It's got everything in here because I've taken it out of my web forms. And you can see here, it's got address fields and it's got information on brokerages and it's got Schedule A. It's got everything in there. Okay, so this is pretty much a pretty good agreement of purchase and sale for the condo. So now you have this on your screen. What do? You can see here on the top, there is a toolbar on the top, okay? And in the toolbar on the top, on the left-hand side is your file. In your file, you can make a new transaction. You can open a specific form. You can save the transaction. You can copy it. You can make 2 copies. You can erase pages or the current page. You can put in confidential or draft. And sometimes people put draft across the page when they're sending it to a lawyer so that nobody can sign it. You can delete the transaction. You can print the transaction. You can email the transaction. You can go for help again, but I think we've got enough places to go for help already. And you can save and exit the transaction. Here is where you can pick your font, your color, your size of font, and different settings if you wanted to change something to all uppercase or all lowercase, or you wanted to actually title things with A at the beginning of every sentence, that kind of a thing. So the font becomes kind of important, especially when you have names in here. Clauses. This is where you can add clauses if you've forgotten to. So in your web forms, you've added all the clauses, and then somebody calls you and says, oh, just before you send this, I want to add a home inspection clause. This is where you can add that clause. So what you can do is you can go down to Schedule A, and remember, we're not in web forms, we're in Authentosign right now. You can click on clause. You can click on system clauses, office clauses, or personal clauses. And you can create personal clauses. So for example, if you do a lot of specific commercial restaurants, they have specific clauses, and you can create your own personal clauses and save it there. And know how to do that, you'd go to the How Do I section video. How do I create a personal clause? And you can add your own clauses that you use on a regular basis. Office clauses, we have created clauses. There's a lot of commercial clauses, and I know there's some people on this webinar that do know what the due diligence clause is, and this is where it's hiding in office clauses. And system clauses are all of the clauses that Area provides, and you can go to English, of course, and you can go down to, for example, inspections and inspection of the property. You can do this, and you can say, okay, and here it is, and you can simply go, you can press okay, and it adds it in. And so it's really, really, really quite simple to add it in. Now you can see here that what it does is it added it here, and you just simply have to go like this. And now we've added the home inspection clause. So this is a very, very handy section in Authentosign that you can add clauses that you have forgotten. Or if all of a sudden you're here and this buyer says, oh, don't include the inspection, I want to go in firm, which of course in today's world is the only way to buy a property, you just simply highlight and delete. It's really quite simple. Here are your transaction forms. So if you remember, at the moment, we are only in the agreement of purchase and sale. Here's your transaction forms, and here they all are. So here's your 801, your agreement of confirmation of cooperation, working with the realtor, agent sales information sheet, and it's got conditions, and this is everything that's in the transaction kit, okay? So I want to select this, I want to select this, and for the moment, I'm just going to select this one only, okay? And in my basket, wonderful. And here they all are. How wonderful. They're all there. It's great. Okay. Okay. And so now you can simply move around your forms. Here, if you want to look at a page really fast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I want to go to page 5. There it is. Here, I want to zoom in because I can't read it because the writing's so small. Here's where you have a few functions that you can do, but this is a bit this is a bit unwieldy to use. It's better to actually use the Authentosign program. Here is the key piece of the whole project. Send to new Authentosign. And it used to say send to Authentosign, but now there's only new Authentosign, and this is it. So this is how you start the Authentosign process. Here is where you can add a page if you want to add more clauses. Here's where you can remove a page if you need to, and here's where you can save and exit. But as I mentioned, here is the key to the whole thing. Send to new Authentosign. And here it is. So now it has taken us to the actual Authentosign page, okay? And in the Authentosign page, we have that's running up and down the right-hand side here. And it comes to signers, docs, tools, layouts, options, and feedback. Now over on the left here, we have our document, okay? And we want more documents in here. So documents, add a document or form. So here it is in my transaction. I want to add Form 801. I want to add the confirmation of cooperation or representation. Remember, you've made these things in web forms already. Okay, here's the buyer representation agreement. Here's the working with the realtor. Okay, so that's great. We've got the forms that the buyer has to sign, except what are we missing? We're missing a Schedule B. So as you know, in the MLS data sheet, at the top of an MLS data sheet, you have the schedules, and most brokerages, Lord help us, not all, most brokerages put their Schedule B onto the listing in the MLS. And what you have to do there is you have to click it, you have to save it. Sometimes if the brokerage, the listing brokerage doesn't put it in a fillable format, you have to print it out. You can handwrite it, scan it back into your desktop, or you can do it through a text box feature that we're going to come to in a moment. So we're going to upload, and I'm going to upload from my computer. And here is 200 Greenbrier Schedule B. You have to remember where you save this, of course. Okay, and so now we have all sorts of documents in here. You can see them all. They're all here. Here's all the documents that I have. Okay, so what do we need signed first? We need the working with the realtor signed first. And over here, you can see these 6 dots, and you can see the way my mouse changes. And we're just going to drag that up to the top. What's next? If you don't have one yet, the buyer representation agreement needs to be signed. Then there's the agreement of purchase and sale. Oh, no, sorry. 801 should probably be first, I guess. Right? 801, working with the realtor, buyer representation agreement, agreement of purchase and sale, Schedule B, confirmation of cooperation and representation. You can keep adding forms if you want to, no problem at all. Okay, so now we're good. And we're going to go back to signers. So set signing order. What's this? Set signing order is the order that you want people to sign in. If you do not put this over to here, okay, then anybody who gets it first signs it first. Anybody who gets it second signs it second. Anybody who signs it third, et cetera, et cetera. It's a free-for-all. Whoever signs it, signs it. There's no order to the signing. If you leave it like this, there's no order to the signing. So usually there's an order to the signing. For example, the buyers would sign first and you would sign second, as an example. And so we're going to add participants. And here's what you can do. You can add yourself, and it already has all this in there. So I'm going to add myself. Here I am, John. And who am I? There's my email address. And I am the cooperating brokerage. Okay. Just let me check the chat button for a moment here.
John, can I ask a question while you're here? I'm here just because of this question. I have to leave after.
Yes, Paula.
Yeah, hi. I have been for different people, I fill this part and I save it to my contact list, expecting that corresponding field to be filled on the document. It wasn't. And next time when I try to fill another document, another form and send it to the client, the same question was there. It popped up because it showed that the contact field is not completed, whereas I did complete it. I don't know why it keep happening.
Right. And Sadi, I'll get back to your question in a moment. So you're saying, Paula, that this contact information is disappearing. Is that correct?
No, the email part disappearing, and although I fill it completely, and I in the part that it says role, I assign a role.
Right.
And save it to my contact list. Next time when I come back to for the same transaction to fill another form, it shows that something missing. I have to go back about the contact.
Right.
I have to go back. Usually what is missing is email again and the role.
Right.
I have to assign it again. And plus, when I fill it, I'm expecting the corresponding field to be filled on the document. It doesn't.
Right. So I know for a fact that Authentosign is not, there's two questions. One is what's happening to your fields. The second one, why isn't it going to the document? Yes. So here it is. Authentosign is not perfect. There's no other way to do it. Sometimes I know from practicing this over and over and over, sometimes the fields and the email and the role, I've had it where the last name doesn't show up and you just have to fill it in. It's as simple as that. It's an Authentosign thing. There's nothing you can do about it. Okay?
Can you while you are here, if there is something wrong, can you delete the whole this part, the whole thing? Can you?
Can I get rid of my whole thing? Sure, just press cancel.
When you are in this stage of like you want to sign, you decide to send something to the client, and then later on you find out something is wrong. You want to delete the whole thing that in the Authenticsign.
Yeah. You need to watch this video because that's coming in about 20 minutes, Paula.
Okay, so I will do that later because I have to attend to something else.
Okay.
Thank you so much anyway. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So there was another question here. Sadi is asking, can you please explain how you save Schedule B from MLS? You click on Schedule B. Above the MLS listing, there's schedules. You click on it. It's usually in a drop-down menu. You will see Schedule B, and you need to download and save it to your computer. Okay? If you don't know how to do that, you need to sit down with somebody who knows how to use a computer, Sadi, to learn how to do that. So back to signers. So I'm going to save this. And there I've done it. Okay. And then I'm going to add participants. And I could add new. And if I add new, I could put in the buyer's names. I can put in their email. I can put in their address. Okay. So let's put in Jerry Fawcett. She's one of the buyers. Okay. And I'm going to put in my own email address. Normally, this would be Jerry's email address, right? Because she's the buyer. Right? And so I'm going to click here and do buyer. Okay. And I'm going to save. There she is. I'm going to add another participant, but now I'm going to just simply look at my contacts. And I'm going to go down and I'm going to see, we'll get Debbie's in here. And we're going to see Tracy in here as well. I've got here just for fun. Okay, and I'm going to select them as well, because I know that these are the people who are buying the property. Okay, so I've got them all in here, but what order do I want them to sign is the question. So once again, I'm not signing this first. I want the buyers to sign this first. Okay, and then I'm just going to have a quick look at Debbie's, and you can see that Debbie's got an email address, but if I do this, Debbie's going to get this and wonder what the heck I'm doing. And so I'm just going to change the email address to myself. Oops, sorry, that's the wrong one. Debbie's the buyer. And Tracy as well. She would kill me if, so I'm just going to change this one as well. And she's a buyer as well. Save. Okay, so I just had to adjust those because if they would get those, it would be a killer. So now I've got everything coming to me. Okay, and you can see that sometimes here and here it has taken Debbie's and Jerry's initials. You can see DB for Debbie Becker, GF for Jerry Fawcett. Working with a realtor, we're going to talk about this, but you can see what it's done is it's only added 2 in here. And that's because the way the agreement of sale has been done, it doesn't recognize the third name if you have 3 buyers. So I have specifically picked on the fact that there is 3 buyers, so I can show you one of the faults of Authentosign. And one of the faults is that it won't pick up additional buyers. It'll only pick up the buyer in this field, and it'll only pick up the buyer in this field. It doesn't pick up more than 2 buyers. So you can see what it's done is it has only done GF and DB, and you have to manually, in this case, put Tracy's information into the buyer's fields. You'd have to put Tracy's information into the signature field. You can see there's only 2 here. Okay. No. So it's a good, you cannot create Authenticsign with both forms and docs. It has to go into docs. What we have next is I want to show you, we have the paperwork. We have the signers. Down here on this toolbar, you have layouts right here. When you click on layouts, it says layout options, and you can apply layouts. And what'll happen is that you will see the layout name, okay, what it is. Once again, there is no layout option for Schedule B, so that's easy, okay? So you can assign signature layouts. If you wanted to change this, you can assign signature layouts. What'll happen sometimes is you'll get a document that the Authentosign program will not recognize. And this is actually answering Paula's question that sometimes Authentosign does not auto-populate the document. And we want it to auto-populate the document because it makes our job easier. But sometimes, and it's a glitchy system, no question about it. It's not us, it's the people who design it. And sometimes this blank, this here will be blank, okay? And if this is blank, it will not auto-populate, okay? And all you have to do, if it comes out blank for working with a realtor, all you'd have to do is type in here 810. It's got it right here. All you have to do is type in 810 and things will auto-populate for you, okay? So that layout box over here inside is the way you should just double check to make sure everything is filled in here. so that it auto-populates. So we're just going to do that and then just X out of that. And we're back to where we were. That's the layouts. Okay. So we've got signers are done. We've got documents that are done. We've got the layouts that we've made sure it's okay. And now we go to tools. And tools is the signing tools. And this is really, tools is really the one that you really need. I mean, this is it. I mean, this is the signing thing. And so you can see here, once again, Authentosign is not perfect. And I know that as agents, we're all really busy. You all got to rock and roll really fast. The buyer wants to buy. They have to, register your offer by 4 o'clock and it's 3:30. And oh my God, I got to go really fast. And that's where mistakes are made. And so you just need to slow it down a bit. And you can see here that what Authentosign has done in this example here has put the signature right above the name. And you can see here, it says signature of buyer. So anytime you want to move these things around, you can see the 4 arrows. All I could do is just drag this down. Pretty easy to do. Month and day, just drag this down. Debbie's in the same spot, just drag it down. But what about Tracy? Remember, it won't auto-populate more than 2 names, okay? So you do have to figure out how to add Tracy in here, and it's really simple. You simply click the down arrow, click on Tracy, and Tracy, just drag across, and there's Tracy there. Now you can see it will automatically put a date on. Let's do that again. Okay, oops. Let's just delete that. And you can see there's a date here already. And when I drag this down and let go, it puts in another date. And then this becomes unreadable because there are 2 date fields, one on top of each other. So you click on it, there's a garbage can, and just delete one of them. Easy to do. Then what has it done? It's also for buyer counteroffer, complete the following. And it's put these in here. But of course, this isn't a counteroffer. Because Authentosign doesn't know, is this an offer, a counteroffer? It can't read the tea leaves to figure it out. And so you need to delete these. Once again, the garbage can shows up and it's gone. The garbage can shows up and it's gone. Okay. So we've got it set up here. So then you just scroll on down, working with a realtor. So this is another good one to show you. A bunch of things in this one that I want to show you. First of all, you can see here that the client has initials and the customer has the same initials. Authentosign does not know whether you are having your customer, client, the buyers, the Authentosign does not know if your buyers are a customer or a client. So you need to fix this up. So in this case here, we'll just assume that they are clients. So you click on this, the garbage can shows up. Click on this, garbage can shows up. And it's taken it all away now because we had to get rid of them because you can't have all 4 of these filled in, right? It's also missing Tracy's signature. So once again, for initials, you can drag this across. You can get her to sign here. And it's done the double month and date. So we get rid of that. And now what do we need to do? We need to add the initials in here. And so I'm going to go to Jerry. I'm going to drag her initial in here. And I'm going to go to Debbie. And I'm going to drag her initial in here. Next page, the buyer representation agreement. Once again, does Authentosign know What's going on? Does Authentosign know if this is for more than 6 months? Now, these aren't all filled in correctly. I recognize that. I'm just trying to use this as an example. But if this, and most buyer representation agreements do not exceed 6 months. So because this says if the time period for this agreement exceeds 6 months, the brokerage must obtain the buyer's initials. I see this all the time that this is in here when it's actually not 6 months because the agent has not taken the time to go through it slowly, okay? So we want to delete it. Authenticsign doesn't know if it's 6 months or not. And then here we have Jerry and Debbie. And once again, what are we missing? We're missing the third signature. I'm sorry, third initial. Okay. Same thing. Third initial. Okay. Third initial. And I can keep going through this whole program doing this. Down here, we don't have Tracy White's signature. Here we go. Okay. All very straightforward to do this. And you can delete the month and the date again so that it's nice and clean. And I can keep doing this all the way through here. I can just keep adding them, keep adding Tracy's all the way through. No problem at all. I can keep adding in here. Okay. I can keep adding here all the way through. I can keep adding all this stuff here. And here we are in Schedule B. You remember in the layouts, I'll just go back and remind you that here, apply layouts, it's blank. If it's blank, it is not going to auto-populate. If you want it to auto-populate, you have to put in the form number. And so here, there's nothing for initials. We're going to go back to tools. We're going to get Tracy to initial in here, right? We're going to get Jerry to initial in here. And we're going to get Debbie to initial in here. Same thing as before. All you got to do is pay attention, right? And here we have Debbie and Jerry, and Debbie and Jerry, and we could just keep adding the names and initials in here, which is just getting too repetitive. I feel that we don't really have to go through every single change, okay? But now let's go to the buyer representation agreement. Let me get it in here somewhere. Oh, maybe I missed it at the top, eh? There it is. So here we have the buyer representation agreement. And you realize that when you're looking at the buyer representation agreement, that you forgot to put in the commission that the buyer has to agree to, okay? And this happens all the time. Maybe it's in the agreement of purchase and sale that you want to add something or take something away in Schedule A, okay, that kind of thing. And so what they have, so let me get down here again to the buyer representation agreement. So what they have here, if you scroll down a little bit in every name field, it doesn't matter whether it's this one or this one or any of them, my own, this one, they all have a markup area. And the two things that are really good in markup are the text box and the line, okay? You can highlight if you want to, a particular clause. You can try to do freehand, but it's pretty tough to write to, I won't do it. Freehand, we'll get we'll do this and we'll just hopefully just make it a little bigger so I can see what I'm doing here. And I want to delete this altogether. And so freehand is pretty tough, but text box is a different story. Text box, when you click on text box, you can click here. And what does it say? It says enter text. So you get your cursor inside, 2.5%. And there you go. Now, what'll happen here with a text box is you have to be careful with the text box. You can see here how the text box on the far right-hand side is covering part of the pre-printed portion of the buyer representation agreement. It's going to stay like that. It's going to stay with this blanked out. The box will actually disappear. The blue section box will actually disappear, but it will cover this. So if I go like this and go like this, I'm going to cover all of this stuff up if I leave it like that. I don't want to do that. I want to shorten it up so that I'm not covering any of the pre-printed portion of the agreement. Okay, and then I go like that, and there's my 2.5. As simple as that. Okay. You get down to the agreement of purchase and sale, and you realize you've made a mistake by adding this clause. Doesn't matter what clause it is. You can actually do this. You can do text box. You can click here. You can drag it around. You can go like this. You can do the same thing, spot here, and drag it down, and look at that. I'm going to just erase the whole thing. Done. Okay, so that it's not there anymore. And you can do that if you find you have to do something like that, right? It's just a little bit of a trick to get rid of something if you want to. The best part about it all is when you receive a counter offer. So you receive a counter offer from the listing agent, and the listing agent has changed this to, well, let's say they've changed it to 731.5 just for fun, okay? But your buyer says, I don't want to pay 731.5. I want to offer 800,000. So how do you do this? You can come here with a line. Here we go. You cross out the line that you want. 700, oops, sorry, didn't click on that right. And we're just going to do all of this here, and we're crossing that off. Okay. And then you use your text box, and you create a text box here that says 800,000. Okay. And just as a point to everybody out there, especially if you're new, remember to add the zeros, 0.00. Okay. Don't make a mistake and try to do a shortcut. Okay. And then here, text box, and you can make this longer, and you can simply type in 800,000. Okay, and that's how you can do that. You can change your document if you want to go down and get rid of something in Schedule A. Oh, you know, I don't care about the marijuana clause. Okay, so I can do this. I can take my line and I can go like this, and I can do it again and cross that out. Okay, and then what would you have to do? You'd have to have your clients, whoever you're dealing with here, there's lots of scenarios, but I'm going to need, not mine, but I'm going to need my buyers to initial here and initial up here with the change of the price. And of course, I'm going to have to repeat that for Debbie and Tracy, right? I'm going to have to go to Debbie, initial here. Oh, sorry, I didn't put a second one here. I should have another initial box here for Jerry as well, so because we've changed it. And of course, if you're going to change it as well, maybe this is going to go from the buyer to the seller. You can do the line, you can cross out the buyer, you can use your text box, and you can simply write in seller, whatever. I know I'm kind of making this up as I go here. Sorry, but there's so many examples on what could happen in scenarios. You're doing an offer, you're receiving an offer, that kind of thing. And this is how you can change your offers. And then of course, from here, you'd have to have the initials of everybody that is doing it, right? I'm sorry if it's a little confusing between sellers and buyers here. I'm just trying to show you how the program works. Yeah, so Jesselyn has asked, to bring a counter offer into Authentosign, would you upload it from your computer as you did for these documents? You would yes, you would upload it. You would receive the counter offer, Jess. Save it to your desktop is probably the simplest. That's what I do. But wherever you save the document, and then you would upload it just like I did with Schedule B.
Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. And so this is how you move around a transaction, okay? This is how you get it all. It's all, we're just going to assume I've got it all done here, okay? And so now it gets fun. So now what do you do next? Assuming that you've got everything right, you've double checked that you've got all the initials in the right spot, you've double checked your price, in this case here, all of a sudden we're countering whatever. You've changed that, you've got all the initials. We're just assuming all the initials are in here. You've gone through Schedule A, your buyer has said cross out the marijuana clause, who cares? They smoke 3 pots a day, who knows? Schedule B is good to go. Everything else is good to go, okay? Now, of course, I would be adding my own initials in here as well. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to show you what happens in the email process, okay, when we're finally all done this, okay? So what's next? Right here is next. We've got our documents, we've got all the initials, we've made any changes, we know how to strike things out, we know how to use a text box. We can now send the document away to be signed, okay? And you press next. Needs a signer action. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, fine. I didn't know that. So let me put my own name in here then. There we go. Okay. If you want, by the way, you can drag this over to be date just to make it clear. So now next. Processing. And so here you can customize your invites. And here I'm sending an email to Jerry. The email subject is 200 Greenbrier. And hi, Jerry. Thanks for taking my call and taking the time to understand documents. I am now attaching the documents for your signatures and initials. If you have any questions, please let me know. Typing as fast as I can. Save. Ready to send? Send. It has an expiration date. The only problem with the expiration is you can't change the time. It's really kind of stupid because not all irrevocables end at 11:59. And so, you know, I would just put a date far into the future, like this is a month ahead, that's going to cover it, okay? Can you send a reminder? You could send a reminder, but it'll drive your buyer absolutely crazy, so I wouldn't bother with that either. And then you press send. Okay, and so here we go. So now I have to go to my inbox, because if you recall, I sent all of these documents to myself. I used my own email address. So here is the first signing invitation. Okay, and this is what your clients are going to get. They're going to get signing name 200 agreement of purchase and sale, and here we go, start signing. I accept, and here's where Jerry has to sign. Now you can press start if you want to, and you can just click here. Oh, we have to select what it is. And I think there's a bunch of different fonts here that you can pick, yeah, this one, that's nice, let's do that. And sure, set signature for Jerry. And then the next one for Jerry, the next one for Jerry, and away we go. And this is exactly what your client will be doing. Once again, I don't have everybody's signatures blocks in here, else it's going to take forever to go through all of these. And Jerry was the first one in our signing fields that she had to sign. And last but not least, I'm done. Yay, Jerry's done. She presses complete signing. And this is a real pain in the you-know-what. After everybody's signed, they want you to do a how did you like the signing experience? You can either do that or I choose to ignore it. Go back to my inbox, and it says the signing has been updated. So one person has done it already. Hooray. Now the next one. This is to Debbie this time. Start signing. And here we go. Debbie, sure, that looks good. This is exactly what your clients are going to get. Debbie, and away we go. Once again, I'm missing some because I didn't put everybody's in here. I'm just trying to show you here. And one more. And Debbie's done signing. We'll get rid of that. And we'll go. And there's the next one that has been updated. And now we're waiting for Tracy's signature field to come through. And here it is. Now remember, it's all coming to my own email. This would all be going to your client's emails, not to mine. I'm just doing this to show you. And you can see here, hello, Tracy. Start signing. I accept. And what does Tracy want to use as a font? How about Sue Ellen Francisco? Okay, sure, sounds good. And set signature. And here comes Tracy's. And she didn't have very many because I stopped doing it. Once again, we'll get rid of that. And what am I missing here? We're missing my own signature. Here's Tracy's updated. So we've got the 3 updated. And now we're going to just wait for mine. Here it is. I'm going to do it as well. I accept. I've got a signature field in there already. Press start, it'll take me right there. Complete signing, get rid of that. Go back to my emails. Give it just a moment here. And what we're going to get is we're going to get the signing complete. Okay, so John has signing complete here. And here it is coming back to me. And here it is. So here it is. To download a copy of the signed documents, go here. Here we are, all nicely signed. And we can download and we can save it to our computer if you want to, so that you can send it off to the brokerage, whether it's a listing brokerage or a cooperating brokerage, so that you can save it and send it off. I'm not going to save it. 1 second while I check the chat. Great question, Seema. The question is, if there are 3 buyers, do you have to go through the documents with all 3 if they live in the same household? I would say it would be helpful if somebody could put you on a speakerphone. That would probably be the best answer. If not, then I would certainly, in my email out to them, Seema, I would say, please find attached the documents that need to be signed. I understand that all 3 of you understand the documents that you are going to be signing because I explained it to whoever of the one of the three, okay, so that you cover yourself that way in the email.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Julia. Okay, so there it all is. Just let me go back to my email. And then the certificates go here. So the signing certificate is a brokerage requirement that when you hand in paperwork, you must also hand in the signing certificate. The signing certificate authenticates the signers via their internet protocol, their IP address. Okay, so you've got to have this signing certificate. And here are the signed documents in the last email that I received. Okay, so just let me go back here now. Okay, and you can see here in the signings for 200 Greenbrier, 4 out of 4 have completed it. If I would have come back to here halfway through, it would have said 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 3 out of 4, and you'd be in good shape right in front of you. I'm just going to go back here now to my dashboard. And in my dashboard, I have the transaction and the forms, documents, but here I have Authentosign. You can see here 200 Greenbrier is completed. You can, if you needed to find an old document, you can go back to Classic. So I'm just going to click on 200 Greenbrier. And here, once again, is another way you can see the documents. View your signed PDF, view your signed certificates. Once again, this is stuff that your deal secretary needs. She needs the certificates, okay? So you do want to have a look at that, okay? And make sure that you're sending your deal secretary the right stuff. And you can see here the name, remote signing, approved, authenticated. And it just goes through that it's all completed, all right? In the more section here, you can duplicate it. Hang on. And look what you get. You get the whole thing again without anybody having signed it yet. So you've made a mistake. Somebody says you've got the wrong email address. I never got it. This is where you can come back. Maybe it was Jerry who said there was the wrong email address. You can come into your signer and then check the email address, change the email address, and resend it to everybody with the correct email address. That's how you do that. Okay, because that's a common mistake. Everyone's going really fast, right? Everyone's going really fast. They type in the wrong email address. One person gets it, one doesn't. You check to see if the email address has been done correctly. Then what do you do? Yeah. Sorry, got to just go one step faster. You can come back into here, go into here. And oh, it's going to take me back here because I've done it already. Sorry, I couldn't show you again there, but I think you got the idea there. In that section here in your dashboard, and you come down to here and you open it up. So here's the completed one. I'm sorry. Here's the uncompleted one that I duplicated. And here, if you need to resend, you come here, you duplicate it, and then you will see here, I've got another draft of 200 Greenbrier. That's how you can resend it. Okay. Once it's completed, here, you can't delete it. It's saved. You can't get rid of it. Okay. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, the quick and dirty way to do Authentosign. So does anybody have any questions? One moment, just let me check the chat function here. Yes, so good question, Badad. If we correct one of the parties' email addresses, do we need to send to all parties again? And the answer is yes, you do. Small price to pay to get it right and get everybody to sign it. It's actually a huge improvement over the last, the classic Authentosign, because in the classic Authentosign, if you had the wrong email address, you had to start from scratch. In the new Authentosign, you just make a duplicate again. Yes, you look a little silly that you had the wrong email address, but sometimes people give you the wrong email address as well, right? The trick is with Authentosign is to slow down and get it right the first time. Make sure your documents are correct. Make sure your email addresses are correct, that kind of thing. And then it all goes smoothly. But yes, all have to sign again. But Dad, if you get one wrong, all have to sign again. But at least you can make a copy where most of it is all preloaded for you. Seema is asking, you're welcome, Badad. Seema is asking, can you send the documents directly to the deal manager from Authentosign? Well, actually, Seema, what we're asking all the agents to do is to actually email it to the front desk of whichever office you're from. The front desk deals with it before it goes to the back office now, just so that you remember that. And yes, you can. Absolutely, you can simply go to, just one moment here. We're going to go back to here, and we're going to go to the agreement of purchase and sale. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm leading you down the wrong road here, Seema. So you would have received this document here, right? The copy of the completed documents.
Yeah.
You would download it and simply email it to your front desk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no, good question. Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions at all? This is your chance. Now, I do believe that, you know, I have a fair idea of what I'm doing here, and I do believe that all the managers have a fair idea of what they're doing here as well. Most of the front desk has a fair idea of what they're doing with Authentosign as well. However, I do want to remind you the front desk staff cannot do this for you because they are not licensed real estate salespeople. You have to figure out how to do this yourself.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like our video, please hit the like button, the subscribe, and even the little bell to get notifications, just so you can stay in touch and watch more of these great videos.